Hey, how's it going? I'll just back in with another sequence video. This is from Isaiah 8:11 to 9:21. And so Isaiah 8:11 reads, "For the Lord spoke thus to me with his strong hand upon me and warned me not to walk in the way of this people, saying, do not call conspiracy all that this people calls conspiracy, and do not fear what they fear, nor be in dread." So there's a group of people that understand what's really, really going on, and they have no fear except God. "But the Lord of hosts, him you shall honor as holy. Let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And he will become a sanctuary and a stone of offense and a rock of stumbling to both houses of Israel, a trap and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many shall stumble on it. They shall fall and be broken. They shall be snared and taken. Bind up the testimony, seal the teaching among my disciples. I will wait for the Lord, who is hiding his face from the house of Jacob, and I'll hope in him. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord has given me are signs and portents in Israel from the Lord of hosts who dwells on Mount Zion. And when they say to you, inquire of the mediums and the necromancers who chirp and mutter, should not a people inquire of their God? Should they inquire of the dead on behalf of the living? So we're not supposed to go to these people who don't have any idea what's going on, needless to say. Why would you go consult dead, stupid people about things that are alive, and things that are of God? To the teaching and to the testimony. If they will not speak according to his word, it is because they have no dawn. They will pass through the land greatly distressed and hungry. So now we have a time of great tribulation. These people who are disconnected from God, they're on God's left-hand side. And when they are hungry, they will be enraged and will speak contemptuously against their king and their God, and their faces upward, and turn their faces upward. So these so-called UFOs are going to be ministering the plagues in Revelation 16, and they're going to blaspheme the name of God. That's what it says in Revelation 16. And they will look to the earth, but behold, distress and darkness and gloom and anguish, and they will be thrust into thick darkness. So this is the time of great tribulation, after, God's elect are taken away. And so bind up the testimony, seal the teaching among my disciples. This is for God's elect. I will wait for the Lord, who is hiding his face from the house of Jacob, and I'll hope in him. So that's reference to salvation. Okay, and then we have a time of great tribulation. And then now we're going to have a time of Christ returning with his elect. Isaiah 9:1. "But there will be no gloom for her who is in anguish. In the former time he brought into contempt the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the latter time he has made glorious the way of the sea, the land beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the nations. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in a land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. You have multiplied the nation. You have increased its joy. They rejoice before you as with joy at the harvest, as they are glad when they divide the spoil. For the yoke of his burden and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of the oppressor, you have broken as on the day of Midian. For every boot of the trampling warrior in battle tumult and every garment rolled in blood will be burned as fuel for the fire." That's in verse 9:5-14. That's with God's elect. And so it's the God of the Bible's ambition to destroy everybody on his left-hand side with fire. So don't need to really read this, but it kind of goes into more detail of that, of the wrath. And verse 7, "The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this." And, it goes on a little bit further in verse 18. "For wickedness burns like a fire. It consumes briars and thorns. It kindles the thickets of the forest, and they roll upward in a column of smoke. Through the wrath of the Lord of hosts, the land is scorched, and the people are like fuel for the fire. No one spares one another." Okay, so it's a God of the Bible's ambition to burn his entire earth. Okay, and Isaiah 10 says that, you could count the number of trees left, like a child could count them down. Okay, so he's going to burn the trees itself and then the people. So just know that, and it's, the language is pretty clear, what God's plans are, that these people are essentially going to be fuel for the fire. Then again here, we have the sequence where it's salvation, it's a time of great tribulation, then it's a time of destruction with, the wrath of God being done by God himself with his elect. Verse 19, "And the peoples are like fuel for the fire. No one spares one another." So we have the sequence here again in Isaiah 8 and 9. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.